Hi. So I just left work and I'm at my church. I'm going to a meeting a little bit later in support of some friends, but I'm here early and I wanted to take a little moment to address a group of people, however small they may be, and just say hi and just kind of catch up and catch you up to where I am in my life. Pretty much like everybody that's watching this video knows me personally and is like a friend of mine and knows me in person and stuff. However, there was a time when I did social media music. And if you're a friend and you clicked on my YouTube and you were like, why does she have 3,000 subscribers, 2,000 subscribers? That is why. And I used to do music and I used to promote myself pretty heavily on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube. And I would have some very just people that always watched all the videos, always commented, and were always very nice. And when I posted my video last week, there was a very clear, but I didn't realize it at the time, thread between the type of stuff that I did with my music and the type of video that I just released last week. And it was this tie of authenticity. My music wasn't necessarily the most authentic, but I would live stream a lot and I would comment, I would engage with comments a lot. And if you go back to my old videos, I would try to respond to the comments because there weren't a lot. So it just felt so meaningful and so real, and there was actual connection going on. And so it kind of felt familiar, if that makes sense, simply just because with this past video, I was like, it's actually not that, like I said, it's not that big of a deal. I just want to post and want people to enjoy my life because I want to enjoy theirs. I want to see what people do every week. And I don't really want to hear them talk unnecessarily, but I do want to see what they do. And so I was wondering if any of them would see that video and be like, oh my gosh, I remember Whitney, that's crazy. And there were two people at the time I'm filming this video. At the time I'm filming this, there were two people that that commented. And I was wondering if they were gonna need an update about my life, and I feel like it would be great. So this section is really for the people that have been here since 2019 and 2020. Some of my friends who are watching this video just in real life have not even known me that long. And so it's kind of crazy to think that there's people commenting on my last video who the last time they watched me was in 2019, or 2020, or maybe 2021, but I think it's 2020. That's scary. But here is a life update I'm going to do it in a minute and a half. Ready? In May of 2019, I graduated high school. I started college in the fall. COVID happened, obviously, in 2020. And we were all online. I stayed online for the rest of my college career after that point. I went to school literally a semester and a half. And then I went online for the rest. In January of 2021, I started dating my now husband, Jesse. And then in August of 2021, I moved to Athens. I was planning on going to school there. I ended up going to Kennesaw State online. Jesse and I lived about 5 minutes apart. I lived with my high school best friend, my childhood best friend, and my childhood best friend's sister. And then in May of 2022, Jesse graduated. He moved to North Carolina. I stayed in Athens that whole summer and continued to live there. We had two new friends move out, and the sister friend, we had two new friends move in, and the sister my really good friend, who at the very beginning of living together was just my childhood best friend's sister, and now is a close friend, moved out, did all that stuff. Jesse lived in North Carolina, I lived in Athens, and then in January of 2023 we got engaged, and then Jesse kind of made a plan to move back to Atlanta. All of our family is really local, like immediate family is local to Atlanta, and so we really wanted to be here. And then we had a church home here, and a pretty great opportunity for me to work here developmentally. So we got married in June of 2023, and Jesse moved back right before that. And then we lived kind of right outside of Atlanta, and I started a new job at the church that I grew up at in 2023 August. And then Jesse, also not in there is that Jesse studied for his CFP, passed his CFP, and then obviously was like continuing to work. Like I said in my last video, he took that test in, I think, March of 2024. So we had lived in an apartment for our first like year of marriage, June of 2023, to we ended up buying a house in April of 2024. So I was obviously working at this church in a development program for worship and creative resources. So I was leading worship every week, and I was planning services, I was playing guitar. I ended up playing piano by the end of my development program. That was like a big goal for my second year, was to lead from piano. I only did it once, but it was really cool. I really loved it. And then I also did social media. I learned video editing. I learned a lot of Adobe stuff that I use at my job now. And so then in March of 2025, I started really seriously looking for another job. Just like any development program, sometimes you stay, sometimes you're kept on, and sometimes they kind of launch you. So around March, it was, like, okay, it's time to look for a job. And I spent every waking moment that I wasn't working or occupied looking for a job and making my portfolio website from the beginning of March to the end of April. Around Easter of 2025, I signed and accepted a job, and Jesse also transitioned to a new job in around Thanksgiving of 2024. And then I started my new job in 2020, just a month ago, in March of 2020, in May of 2025. So it has been a ride, you guys. It's been a ride. My high school best friend is married. My other college friend who roomed with us my senior year. So if you didn't do the math, I lived at home for my freshman and sophomore year, and then I moved out to Athens for my junior and senior year, and then I actually had to do a 5th year, and I did that my first year of my development program. So I actually graduated in May of 2024, and I started my development program full-time in 2023, so I did fall and spring semester, like 2 classes at a time while I was doing my full-time job. But I did that to myself. So, yeah. Like I was saying, yeah, my high school best friend is married now. I was the first one to get married out of my friend group, and I think Jesse was too, but there might have been 1 or 2 people that beat him to it. And one of my other college roommates is married now. One of my other college roommates is engaged. One of my other college roommates lives in New York. And a lot of Jesse's roommates from his Christian fraternity live really close, so we still get to keep in contact with them. So yeah, it's just been very different. My life has been very different from, the life that I was writing songs about. I was really anxious. I was really depressed. I was definitely coming out of it, but I was so anxious, and I was not doing well, and I was carrying a lot of trauma without really realizing it. And yeah. So I think that's pretty much all that I have to say, but I just wanted to give a little update to people that, have been around for a while, because you don't know what's gone on. I'm sure when you heard me say we celebrated our 2-year wedding anniversary that you kind of figured out that I was married, but yeah, that is pretty much it. In terms of music, I have no plans of playing music and posting it online. I have especially no plans of singing and posting it online. I think that I was called, like, for a season to do that, and I have no doubt that at some point the Lord is gonna, remind me and be like, hey, you should do this again. Not necessarily like singing online, but singing in general. But I feel like no inkling or calling to do that. I've loved playing piano recently, but yeah, no singing, and I probably won't be writing music and posting a new song every day like I used to, and I probably won't be doing like covers, and it took so much work to do all of that stuff that I used to do, you guys, like a lot of work, and I have other priorities, but there are a lot of things that I used to not do that I do now, like read. I read now, which is crazy. Used to never do that. I read, what else do I even do? I read. Sometimes I crochet and color, but I haven't done that in a really long time. But yeah, that's it. I hope you guys, so that's it. I'll see you in the next clip. Bye!